Good morning and welcome to the Joy Business Report, the Farmers' Day edition. Coming up, economist Professor Eboh Texon warns proposed import restrictions could result in significant hikes in prices of foodstuffs and some items. And there are concerns that delays in securing the IMF second tranche cash could impact negatively on the city's fortunes. And in our business journal today, we explore or find out why the influx of foreign meat products are hurting butchers in the country as we mark Farmers' Day. My name is George Yafe. Let's now settle for the details. Economist Professor Eboh Texon is warning that the proposed import restrictions could result in price hikes of some foodstuffs and items. Government is seeking Parliament's approval to restrict the importation of some items to help save the country some foreign exchange and promote local industry production. Now, speaking on PM Express Business Edition, Professor Texon noted that government must tread cautiously on this policy measure.
Our domestic firms cannot even produce 5%. You need to get their capacity. They say, okay, we can produce 40% of the market. And then you see how you bring in a 60%. Then you know that it's not going to have an impact on prices. When you restrict and their capacity is not able to meet the demand, you shoot up prices. So while the central bank is scratching its head in trying to bring down inflation, we are coming up with counter policies to cause inflation. What is the coercion in policies? This is not a way to improve domestic capacity. The way to improve domestic capacity is to make the business environment conducive, is to let the cost of doing business drop to levels that are conducive for firms to be competitive. It is about supporting research and development for innovation in your domestic economy. Once you put all of these things in place, your firms will be competitive.
And that is economist Professor Eboh Texon speaking on PM Express Business Edition. There is a repeat at 11 a.m. on the Journey channel later this morning. Financial economist Professor Lord Mensah has expressed worry over delays in reaching a deal with external creditors and how that could impact on the fortunes of the Ghana cedi. The IMF has been forced to reschedule its meeting to approve the second tranche of cash of $600 million for Ghana. Now, this is due to China now pushing for December 2020 as the new date for loans that it has granted to Ghana to be restructured instead of the December 2022. Professor Mensah said the development is not good for the economy.
Yes, I am, of course. I mean, Ghana is desperately in need of, the 600 million inflows. And if we don't get it, the consequences on our exchange rate, on our economy in general, could be dire. And as a result of that, we all pray that we can get, the buy-in of China for the restructuring to go on so that those monies that have been earmarked. The longer this inflow stays and the more we keep on, postponing the restructuring period, the more uncertainty we prolong on our economy. And as a result of that, it doesn't augur well for, the investor community, not at all.
Financial economist who is also a visiting professor at Kemper Business School, Professor Lord Mensah. It might be a good time to look at how the cedi is performing. And you need 12 Ghana cedis, 5 pesos to get $1 this morning based on the transactional rates that the commercial banks are offering to their retail clients. The British pound is going for 15 Ghana cedis, 30 pesos. The euro, on the other hand, is trading at 13 Ghana cedis, 20 pesos. Now, the Chamber of Independent Power Producers is cautioning government against restructuring of the energy sector debts owed them. Now, this is because they are highly indebted to their suppliers and banks. Elikplima Abutogbo is the chief executive of the chamber and is now called the Independent Power Generators Ghana and has been speaking at the public forum organized by Think Progress Ghana.
On the issue of debt structuring, I think our position has been very emphatic and clear that the debt that we want to structure is a debt that we have also owed to our lenders, suppliers. If you give us a haircut, say all our standing debts, and you say you are taking you want to give us a haircut of 30% or 40% out of it. Who is going to pay our debt for us? These are actual costs that we have incurred. The debt in question is not our savings, it's not our profits. So it's practically impossible to restructure it. We have presented an option to government that we are open to a fair payment plan that can enable us or that can make us comfortable.
Chief Executive of the Independent Power Generators Ghana, Elikplim Akpetogbo. Managing Director of Labadi Beach Hotel, David Eduafo, has joined calls for renewing utility tariff for players in the hospitality industry. He argues that the cost of electricity is a major input, making management of hotels costly in Ghana compared to their peers in the West African region. He's of the view that reducing these tariffs will help bring down the cost of operations and make Ghana the #1 destination for tourists across the world.
Doing business in Ghana is not cheap. Our taxes are not cheap. If I say not cheap, we pay quite a lot of taxes. Utility services, very expensive. We pay over excess of 800,000 cedis a month for just electricity, not even water, So doing business generally in Ghana, especially in our industry, is very, very expensive. And of course, if you want to survive, you have to have the right prices. And you cannot absorb it all. The consumer or the end user will have to bear some of this cost. And so certainly, when it comes to the region, in terms of Africa, hotel prices and rates in Ghana are not cheap. They are not cheap because of the factors I've just mentioned to you. Doing business is not cheap.
Managing Director of Labadi Beach Hotel, David Eduafo. Now, butchers in the Ashanti region are decrying the importation of foreign meat products onto the local markets. They maintain that this development is hurting their business, as most customers prefer cheap imported to the fresh ones sold on the market. Love FM's Mona Lisa Frimpong explored the situation in the Business Journal today.
The number of livestock slaughtered daily in Kumasi is reducing. Malam Mustafa, a leader of the butchery section at the Kumasi abattoir, is worried some of his men have moved to other markets within the metropolis to meet sales targets.
In the olden days, especially for about 10 years back, we used to slaughter about 200 cows, 250. But nowadays, the market is not good. The abroad meat has come and destroyed our market. So now when we come, even slaughter, highest will be 150 or 120. But at first, here is Mr. Mike, we used to slaughter about 200, 250. But because of the abroad meat, I will say it critically, whoever is doing the work, that meat is not advisable for us.
Customers of the butchers prefer the imported frozen cow parts such as the intestines, head and legs compared to the locally processed products.
The meat that they are importing in this country, especially that of the...
Dermavant Sciences CEO Todd Zavodnik shares why they're driven to change how chronic skin diseases are treated.
In dermatology, the two largest disease states are psoriasis and atopic dermatitis, known as eczema. And the option that's been available for the last 30, 40, 50 years has been steroidal topical treatment options. And there's so many limitations to that. Our mission is to move that to a non-steroidal once-a-day treatment option.
Visit dermavant.com to learn more.